The hidden cause of leg weakness after 60 and how to fix it naturally. If I told you that one of the most effective ways to restore leg strength, especially if you've been feeling slower, weaker, or more fatigued than usual, doesn't involve the gym or a prescription, but rather begins in your kitchen, what would you imagine? The truth is, groundbreaking research from 2023 in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition has confirmed what many in the natural health community have long suspected: the right nutrients taken at the right time can trigger noticeable improvements in leg strength, balance, and energy in as little as 12 hours. This isn't speculation, it's measurable science. In adults over 60, specific food compounds were shown to increase muscle protein synthesis and mitochondrial activity overnight. In plain terms, that means better muscle repair, stronger legs, and more stable movement without waiting weeks or months. Now, when we talk about leg strength, we're not just talking about mobility. We're talking about something deeper: independence, confidence, and your ability to live fully and safely. Because once leg strength begins to fade, everything changes. Climbing stairs becomes harder, your balance falters, energy dips, and unfortunately, many people assume that this decline is simply part of aging. But I'm here to tell you, it's not. Contrary to popular belief, the number one cause of declining muscle strength in older adults isn't age, it's chronic undernourishment at the cellular level, mild but constant inflammation, and a disruption in our internal biological clock, our circadian rhythm. That means the problem isn't just how old you are. The real issue lies in how your body is being fueled, how it's recovering overnight, and how well your nerves and muscles are still communicating. Let's explore how nutrition, particularly timed nutrition, can reignite your body's ability to rebuild strength, especially in the legs. In this guide, I'll take you through the physiology of how muscle loss actually happens, why it's often not permanent, and how a single nutrient-dense food used correctly can begin repairing the neuromuscular system within hours. We'll also look at the power of leucine, the amino acid that switches on muscle regeneration, and how to get the timing right to maximize your results without pills, without prescriptions, and without frustration. Muscle loss isn't always loss. Sometimes it's just disconnection. For decades, we believed that age-related muscle loss was permanent, that it came from atrophy, shrinking muscle fibers due to inactivity or hormonal decline. But recent studies in neuroscience have shifted that view. What we now know is astonishing. In many cases, the muscle is still there. It's just not receiving the message to work. Here's what that means. The motor neurons, the nerves that connect your brain and spinal cord to your muscles, start to weaken as early as your 40s. When those connections break down, your muscles may still exist, but they aren't being activated. The signals that tell them to contract, to balance you, to give you power, they're not getting through. This disconnection results in what we call silent muscle, especially in the legs. A major 2021 study from the University of Calgary revealed that many older adults who feel leg weakness still have the structural muscle capacity. They simply lack strong neuromuscular signals. That means the muscle isn't lost, it's offline. That's a game-changing insight. It tells us that leg strength can often be recovered, not by building new muscle from scratch, but by reactivating what's already there. If you've ever stood up and felt your legs wobble, if walking upstairs feels harder than it used to, even without a change in activity, if your legs fatigue faster than they should, this might not be just age. It's likely a breakdown in communication between your nervous system and your muscles, and that is something we can fix. The nervous system is the foreman, fuel it right, and work resumes. Think of your nervous system like a foreman, shouting instructions through a megaphone to your leg muscles. If the batteries in that megaphone are low, the message won't get through. But if you recharge that megaphone, if you provide the right nutrients to the neuromuscular junction, the message becomes loud and clear again. This megaphone, biologically speaking, depends on a few key compounds: B vitamins, essential amino acids, especially leucine, and precursors to acetylcholine, the chemical messenger that tells your muscles to contract. When these nutrients are supplied in the right way, at the right time, the signal strength returns. The result? Muscles that begin responding again, balance that stabilizes, strength that reawakens. And here's the part that makes this so powerful. This change can happen within hours. One of the most effective ways to trigger it is by consuming a leucine-rich food source in the evening, when your body is preparing for overnight repair. Leucine, the anabolic switch that reactivates muscle repair. Leucine is not just another amino acid. It's a signal, a molecular switch that tells your body it's time to build. Your body can't make leucine on its own. You must get it from food. But more than that, Leucine is what scientists call an anabolic trigger. It activates the mTOR pathway, mammalian target of rapamycin, which controls your body's ability to create and repair muscle. Think of mTOR as the main power switch inside your body's repair system. When leucine levels rise, mTOR turns on. Once it's active, muscle protein synthesis ramps up, and repair begins. Even in older adults, a high leucine meal can significantly boost this process. A key 2011 study in the Journal of Nutrition demonstrated that just one high leucine meal could reactivate mTOR in adults over 60 and stimulate meaningful muscle repair. But here's the issue. Most older adults get just enough protein to maintain what they have, not enough to stimulate growth or repair. That's why leg strength fades, even in people who eat relatively well. The key isn't just the amount of protein, it's the quality of leucine and the timing of your intake. You don't need to eat more, you need to eat smart. When to eat for maximum muscle repair. The evening window. Your body follows a natural rhythm, known as the circadian cycle. Certain biological activities, like healing, digestion, and hormone release, are stronger at night. When you consume a leucine-rich meal in the evening, your body is primed to use it efficiently. The amino acids go directly to work while you sleep, restoring nerve function and rebuilding muscle tissue, especially in your legs, which are highly dependent on consistent neuromuscular signaling. Within hours, mitochondrial activity increases. That means your muscles produce more energy, faster. Within days, the nerve signals that control your legs begin to sharpen, and within weeks, many patients notice improved stability, energy, and confidence in their gait. The best evening foods for this purpose include whey protein isolate, 25 to 30 grams, containing 2.5 grams of leucine, whey protein isolate, chicken breast or turkey, 3 thworas low pli, 2.5 grams of leucine, whey protein whey protein isolate is the most efficient source and especially useful for those with reduced appetite or chewing difficulties. The other half of the equation: acetylcholine and signal restoration. Once you've activated muscle protein synthesis, the next step is to restore the communication lines. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter responsible for telling your muscles to move, but as we age, our levels of acetylcholine can decline, especially if we're not supporting the production with the right foods. To keep your neuromuscular signaling strong, include foods rich in choline, the precursor to acetylcholine, such as egg yolks, liver, beef or chicken, soy lecithin, cauliflower, broccoli. In combination with leucine, these foods help rebuild both the muscle tissue and the nerve pathways that control them. Think of it as rebuilding the road and repaving the wiring that runs beneath it. Within days, you may feel it working when done correctly. The results of this approach can be felt quickly. In my own practice, I've seen patients who were struggling with chronic leg fatigue begin to report noticeable improvements in stamina and steadiness within a week of making these adjustments. Take Margaret, for example, a 69-year-old woman who had stopped walking in the evenings because her legs would tire so quickly. She started incorporating 30 grams of whey protein isolate and a boiled egg with choline-rich yolk each night around 7 p.m. Within 5 days, she noticed more power during her morning walks. By the second week, she could go up a flight of stairs without holding the rail, and within a month, she told me, "I feel like I've gotten my legs back." Give your legs the tools to come back online. You don't need a gym membership or a strict fitness regimen to restore leg strength after 60. You need connection. Connection between your nerves and your muscles. Connection between what you eat and what your body needs. And most of all, connection between the choices you make each night and the energy you want to feel each day. Remember, this isn't about building massive muscles. It's about reclaiming stability, energy, and mobility. It's about standing up without wobbling, walking without fear, feeling alive again in your own body. It all starts with one intentional meal: high-quality protein, rich in leucine, taken at the right time. Give your body the signal it's been waiting for, and tomorrow morning, you might just feel the difference. The hidden keys to restoring leg strength after 60. What most doctors don't tell you. If I were to tell you that one of the most powerful ways to restore leg strength, especially if you've been feeling slower, weaker, or more fatigued lately, doesn't come from the gym, doesn't come from a pill, and doesn't come from a fancy supplement, but from your kitchen, what would you imagine? It sounds almost too simple, but real science is now confirming something that ancient medicine has hinted at for centuries. When certain foods are consumed at the right time and the right way, they can switch your neuromuscular system back on, even in older adults, and begin repairing muscle signaling within hours. Let's start with a surprising finding published in 2023 in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Researchers found that when adults over 50 consumed a specific nutrient-dense evening meal, measurable improvements in muscle protein synthesis and mitochondrial activity were observed the very next morning. In plain language, their leg muscles were working better, faster, more alive, and their energy systems, the mitochondria, were recharged. Now, this isn't just about movement or beauty. This is about something far more foundational: your independence, your confidence, your ability to rise from a chair without stumbling, to walk across a room without hesitation. When the legs go, everything changes. That's why this matters. For years, people believed that muscle loss came from aging, that it was natural and unavoidable. But modern research is telling a different story, one with hope. It's not about your age on the calendar. It's about what's happening at the cellular level, what you eat when you eat, and how it supports your nervous system, muscles, and energy centers matters more than you think. Why the problem isn't always muscle mass, it's muscle connection. Here's something most people don't realize. The muscles in your legs may still be structurally strong, but they're not firing. That's not age, that's a breakdown in neuromuscular signaling. In a groundbreaking study from the University of Calgary, researchers found that leg weakness in older adults wasn't always due to lost muscle fibers. Instead, it came from disconnected neurons, the motor nerves that tell your legs to move. They were either misfiring or not firing at all. So when you feel unsteady rising from a chair, or when your legs tire faster than usual, even if your routine hasn't changed, it's not just aging. It's a breakdown in communication between your brain, spinal cord, and muscles. And the good news is, it can be restored. Think of your nervous system like a foreman with a megaphone, giving instructions to a group of workers, your muscles. If the megaphone's battery is low, the message doesn't get through, but if you recharge it, the work resumes almost immediately. That's the job of nutrition, specifically the right nutrients that support neuromuscular reconnection. The role of leucine, flipping the switch for muscle repair. Leucine is not just an amino acid, it's a signal. Your body looks for it after meals to decide whether to build or repair muscle. It's one of the few nutrients that directly activates the mTOR pathway, a cellular switch that tells your muscles, it's time to grow. In fact, a study in the Journal of Nutrition showed that even in older adults, just one leucine-rich meal could dramatically increase muscle protein synthesis. That's how powerful it is. But here's the key. Your body doesn't make leucine. You have to get it from food. And older adults need more of it, not less, to overcome something called anabolic resistance, which makes the muscles less responsive to protein signals with age. That's why the timing of your meals matters. Your first major meal of the day should include 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine. Great sources include eggs, poultry, beef, and especially whey protein. Whey isolate is one of the fastest and most effective sources of leucine and essential amino acids, and it's why athletes and doctors alike use it for rapid muscle restoration. But this isn't just about growth, it's about communication. Because after a leucine-rich meal, your nervous system reconnects with your muscles. The signal that tells your legs to fire becomes clearer, faster, more reliable. Acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that makes muscles move every time you decide to stand, walk, or even lift your foot. Your brain sends a signal, but that signal doesn't go straight to the muscle. It first converts into acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that bridges the gap between nerve and muscle. Without enough acetylcholine, muscles misfire, or they don't fire at all. And the older you get, the more this matters, because both acetylcholine production and receptor sensitivity decline with age, especially in the motor neurons connected to the legs. Here's where it gets interesting. Choline, the precursor to acetylcholine, can restore this signal quickly. A 2012 review in Nutrients found that increasing choline intake can boost acetylcholine production within just 6 to 12 hours, especially when the brain is actively coordinating movement. The best food source? Eggs. 2 whole eggs provide over 300 milligrams of choline, primarily in the yolk. That's enough to reboot acetylcholine production and restore neuromuscular control, especially if eaten within 30 minutes of waking up, when your motor neurons are most sensitive. This is why so many older adults feel steadier, more coordinated, and more confident walking upstairs or navigating steps after a solid protein breakfast. It's not just fuel, it's signal restoration. If you don't eat eggs, don't worry. You can also get choline from quinoa, soybeans, or Brussels sprouts, but egg yolks remain the most bioavailable source, Your body absorbs them better than any plant alternative. And here's a bonus. Acetylcholine doesn't just activate muscles, it supports learning, memory, and concentration, so when you restore it, you're not just stabilizing your legs, you're sharpening your brain. Why blood flow is the hidden player in leg strength. Now let's talk circulation. Think of your muscles as a garden. You could have the best seeds and sunlight, but if the hose is kinked, if the water can't get through, the plants won't grow. That's exactly what happens inside your legs when blood flow slows. Aging arteries become stiff, capillaries become less responsive, the delivery of oxygen and nutrients suffers, and even if you're eating right and moving daily, the muscles won't respond without proper blood supply. Nitric oxide, NO, is the molecule that unlocks blood vessels. It tells them when to widen and let more blood through. And one of the best ways to boost nitric oxide naturally is by eating beets. Beets are rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide. A 2015 study in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that older adults who drank beetroot juice experienced significant improvements in leg muscle power within hours, especially in the fast-twitch fibers responsible for balance and fall prevention. To use this, drink 250 to 300 ml of beet juice, or eat 1 to 2 whole beets about 90 minutes before activity. Then go for a walk, stretch, or move gently. Movement amplifies nitric oxide production, helping the hose unkink and allowing blood to nourish your leg muscles more effectively. The silent saboteur, inflammation that drains your strength even if you're doing everything right. Low-grade chronic inflammation can act like a smoldering fire inside your body, slowly weakening your muscles from the inside out. It disrupts mitochondrial energy production, reduces muscle protein synthesis, and interferes with the nervous system's ability to recruit fibers efficiently. In a 2020 study published in the Journals of Gerontology, elevated levels of inflammatory markers like CRP and IL-6 were directly associated with lower muscle mass and strength in older adults, even when exercise and nutrition were adequate. So how do you fight inflammation without medication? One of the most powerful anti-inflammatory tools is right in your produce drawer: dark leafy greens. Spinach, kale, arugula, Swiss chard, and mustard greens are rich in polyphenols, magnesium, chlorophyll, and plant-based nitrates that help extinguish inflammation at the source. Polyphenols like quercetin, found in kale and mustard greens, have been shown to directly block inflammatory messengers like IL-6 and TNF-alpha. According to Frontiers in Pharmacology, daily intake of these polyphenol-rich greens reduced inflammation markers within 2 to 4 weeks, especially when combined with gentle activity. Start your day with at least 1 cup of greens. Not only do they set the tone for inflammation control throughout your circadian rhythm, but when paired with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado, they help absorb fat-soluble antioxidants like vitamin K and beta-carotene. Add a splash of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar to improve digestion and nutrient absorption even further. The effects won't be instant like painkillers, but in as little as 10 to 14 days, you may feel steadier, more energetic, and more powerful in your legs. Timing is everything. When you eat matters just as much as what you eat. Now that you know what to eat, let's talk about when. Your body responds differently to nutrients based on timing, especially protein. Every time you eat protein, you activate muscle protein synthesis, MPS, the process by which your body repairs and grows muscle. But with age, MPS becomes less responsive. That's called anabolic resistance. To overcome this, protein must be timed deliberately. One major protein-rich meal early in the day helps set the clock for muscle repair. A second protein pulse later, especially at night, can extend that repair window and stimulate mitochondrial activity while you sleep. In fact, a 2023 clinical trial found that consuming casein-rich protein before bed significantly improved overnight muscle recovery and neuromuscular performance in adults over 60. That's because your body enters a repair state during deep sleep, and the fuel you provide right before bed determines how well it rebuilds. Some of the best bedtime proteins include cottage cheese, eggs, tuna, or Greek yogurt. These options are high in slow-digesting protein and leucine, feeding your muscles and nervous system as you rest,